Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about role power in League of Legends. So if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So I'm going to go from weakest to strongest, top lane being the weakest role in the game at the moment. It's stronger than last season. They've buffed the XP by a very minimal amount, and they've also buffed the amount of gold you get from towers. Of course, top lane being the lane where you siege towers the most. Of course, you'll still siege bot lane towers and stuff like this when you're playing things like Tristana and Ziggs, Caitlyn, another siege champion in the bot lane. But for the most part, top lane will see the most tower plays taken during the game. So it's a buff to top lane, definitely. However, top lane is currently being overshadowed by other things surrounding the game. So it's definitely not as good as it can be. And if other things get nerfed and surrounding things get changed, then I reckon top lane could be put in a pretty good spot. So its lack of map impact is definitely hitting it quite badly at the moment. TP is in the worst state it's been in for a while. The overall time it takes for it to empower itself is definitely hurting the overall strength of the summoner spell. When things like Ravenous are so strong in the top lane, it makes Ignite and Ghost really valuable tools. So you tend to see these taken over TP. I imagine TP is probably close to being the least taken summoner spell in the game, other than Cleanse, obviously, but Cleanse is more taken as a response tool rather than as a straight-up summoner spell. TP can be paired with Ignite and Ghost. I see a lot of Ghost TP Fioras, it does work, but for the most part, it's in a pretty weak spot. Top lane is also dominated by certain champs and classes. Fiora is an example of this, where she is very strong in the top lane, and it is nullifying a lot of the top lane pool at the moment because of it. You can obviously say things like Camille as well, kind of fall into the same strain as Fiora, where she just denies tanks and other champions from appearing. But you could also argue that there are responses to these champions. Things like Teemo into Camille brings Teemo into a pretty good spot. Teemo is also pretty good into ADCs, so when ADCs are strong, Teemo is definitely a lot stronger. Shen is probably the best tank in the game at the moment. Mundo will see nerfs, I don't doubt that. There's a chance Shen also does see nerfs, but Shen's ability to have map presence earlier than when TP empowers itself gives Shen a lot of power, definitely. You can also run Ingenious and Ultimate Hunter on the Shen, and these are very valuable tools in helping the champ become stronger. So, the mid lane after this is mid lane. Mid lane is very heavily influenced by jungle at the moment. There was a point where I would have considered mid lane stronger than bot and support in this current preseason, but I think it's a lot to do with the fact that jungle has a lot of power on mid lane at the moment. So mid lane strength is influenced a lot by jungle, and with jungle as strong as it is, jungle being the strongest one in the game, it makes mid lane a lot stronger. But that's less mid lane's power, that's more jungle's power. So I've put mid lane here as the second role. Mid lane is a very balanced role, I would say. It's definitely, I'd say it's relatively the same compared to last season. I would have also considered mid lane as being the most balanced role for last season. But the weird thing is, a lot of champs in mid lane are champs from other roles which are stronger in the mid lane. So mid lane has a lot of power in the game, and I definitely consider it as being a pretty good role, so definitely try it. It could, when the row changes hit the live servers, there is a chance that mid lane gets stronger with a lot of control mages rising up, and mages with wave clear and scaling as tools within like kit become stronger with the rower buffs. There is a chance mid lane becomes strong again, and it has a lot more influence over the map as waves are pushed faster, and there's a lot more roaming. Things like Relentless, Hunter, Anivia becoming a lot stronger, with Roa already being her best mythic. Support ADC and mid, I'd say, are all relatively the same in their power level at the moment. Support has a very high skill ceiling, probably the highest in the game. You could consider jungle as having a very high skill ceiling, but I think having a support who knows roam timing, can influence the other lanes on the map, whilst also influencing their own lane, is very valuable, and definitely one of the strongest tools in the game to have. They are partially relying on ADC, vice versa as well. So if your ADC is pretty weak, it can be hard to play support. as you're very much forced into a more roam heavy playstyle, or sitting back and watching your ADC get punished as they drop farm and do ridiculous things. Roaming is roaming is very strong at the moment. You can have a lot of impact on mid. Enchanters also very strong at the moment. Even though they aren't going to roam as much, Enchanters have a lot of power in the game at the moment. Comes down to a lot of ADC strengths, a lot of what's better in the jungle at the moment helps Enchanters. Enchanters just overall being able to keep people on the map alive is a very valuable tool. Bot lane and ADC. Well, bot lane or ADC, depends on whichever one you usually call it. Very reliant on support, definitely. Support is less reliant on ADC than ADC is reliant on support, because support can very much dictate how you play your laning phase. You can of course 1v2, but it's a lot harder. There's very high carry potential on ADC, it's why I'd consider ADC stronger than support. But the role is very volatile. Bot lane in general is a very volatile role with a lot of opportunities to snowball, and that can get out of control if you're playing something like Twitch, Tristana, Kai'Sa. These are very volatile champions. Spacing is very, very important. Damage is rising up in the game against because by reverting things which they did within the durability patch to make the game more healthier. So being able to space away from the Juggernauts and the Bruisers in the top lane is a very, very powerful tool. Navori is strong on a couple of champs. It definitely could be built more. And overall, ADC is in a pretty strong place at the moment. It was probably the strongest role last season, and it hasn't really been nerfed too hard, so I'd say it's still relatively strong. And of course, jungle. Jungle is the strongest role in the game at the moment. They will nerf it. I don't doubt that. There is a chance that they don't nerf it. Things like Lethality did go on for a while, but the amount of map control you can have as jungle. The problem with jungle at the moment is you can clear and be relatively healthy from clearing, whilst also getting a lot of golden XP out of it and being able to control the map. You can do a lot of things as jungle and get and not get punished by the game very hard for it. So being able to have knowledge and be able to control the map is very, very valuable in its current state, and I'd definitely consider jungle the strongest role in the game for it. Playing to your strengths and what's strong on the map, like whether your ADC and support are doing well and you need to play around them, or whether they're doing well but they don't need your assistance and you can use it to stabilize other lanes on the map, is also really, really powerful. So definitely consider playing jungle if you're looking to very much climb whilst having control over your climb. Overall thoughts: most roles are relatively balanced at the moment. I'd say mid, support and ADC are all relatively the same in their current power level. Top could benefit with a buff, maybe more gold or more XP. It'd be kind of hard to choose exactly what to do with it. But buffing TP, with it being, I'd say, the weakest summoner in the game, other people might disagree with that. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, definitely. But yeah, if TP was empowered maybe 1, 2, 3 minutes earlier, so rather than 14 when turret plates drop to maybe 10 minutes, I'd be interested to see what kind of an impact that has, because that allows top to have more control earlier than it relatively does, or it does at the moment, which is probably too late in its current state. So this would be an interesting change. They probably won't do it, but I reckon there is room there. And jungle could do with a nerf, something to do with clear speed, sustain, smite, whether they're nerfing green, blue, down to the same power level as red, or just nerfing the gold XP. There's a couple of choices on what you can do. If you're looking for ADC and jungle guides, for ADC, definitely check out Cookie. Cookie LOL makes a lot of content. I will link his YouTube in the description. And Vakairu also makes lots of really good jungle content. I definitely recommend checking him out if you're looking to learn the jungle and climb with jungle. Definitely check out Vakairu. So overall, it would be good to hear everyone's thoughts. What do you think is the strongest role in the game at the moment? And what do you think could do with changing? And thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.